710 Talk Radio. It is Crappie Kirby. We'd like to welcome everybody out there to Right Outdoors. And this is my first show. All right, so you guys have to give me a little bit of leeway. But we're going to be talking about outdoor lifestyles, whether it's hunting, fishing, kayaking, hiking, whatever the season may be. We're going to try to cover it. We're going to try to stay topical in timeline to the season. And it being September, the first thing that I think of is dove hunting. And if you guys are outdoorsmen and if you like shooting those upland game birds, and I guess, well, they're actually migratory birds, there's nothing better than shooting some doves out of some fields. And I have a man with me that is probably one of the best shotgun shooters in the Midwest, without a doubt. He has a very unique style that we'll be talking about. But it's my pleasure to introduce everybody out there to John Francis. John Francis.
Thanks, Kirby.
Man, how long have we been friends?
Oh boy, it's been a long time now.
At least 10 years.
Yeah, at least 10 years.
Yeah,
maybe longer.
I've guided you several times on the crappie scene, and you've entertained me out here at Powder Creek, which we're at today. Probably the premier shooting destination in the Midwest.
In the Midwest.
Would you agree?
Yes, you bet.
Can you break down a little bit of Powder Creek? Because I know that you are a instructor out here.
I am. I teach out here 5 days a week, but Powder Creek's a very unique gun club in the Midwest because we are in the city limits of Lenexa, Kansas. We have been here since 1949.
Whoa!
Way before our time.
Yeah.
Full service gun club with 4 trap fields, 3 skeet fields, 2 5-stands, 30 station sporting clays course, and an archery range.
And
a fishing pond that has crappie in it.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, we might have to go down there and try that out. But we were out shooting a little bit today, and of course you smoked me. And I consider myself a decent shot, but man, you just make it look so easy.
I've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
It's just natural for me.
What was the progression into this sport? I mean, have you always been an outdoorsman? How did you find out that, hey, I'm going to go this route, I'm going to instruct people, I'm going to compete across the nation? How did this happen?
Long time ago, I grew up with my brother and my father hunting waterfowl, upland game birds, and just loved it and got into a little bit of some recreational clay target shooting at the farm. Wasn't any big deal. And then fast forward to about 1989, I got invited from a high school friend to come out here to this gun club and shoot in a sporting clays charity shoot.
Yeah.
I shot a score, which I thought was horrible, but I ended up in second place.
Nice.
Long story short, I got hooked. The next year I won that shoot, and it's all uphill from there. So
Uphill.
after that, I just... I worked my butt off to do what I enjoy shooting, this shotgun, and these clay targets. It improved my wing shooting skills. Then I started giving back.
Yeah.
Giving back, teaching kids, teaching adults, introducing people, mentoring people, and letting them learn the lifestyle.
Isn't that the best thing in the world is to teach?
Yep.
I think if I would have chosen another career path, I might have gone the route of a teacher, which is, we need more teachers in this day and age, but there's something about seeing that aha moment when people figure it out for themselves.
That's right. Exactly. This is a lot of things we do in the outdoors is very expensive anymore.
True.
Boats and shotguns and travel and property and things like that. So we want to try to make the most of our experience.
Right.
And part of making the most of our experience is practicing, doing the right thing, having somebody coach them, have somebody mentor them, introduce new people to the sport to keep the sport growing, whether it's hunting, fishing, kayaking, anything.
Right.
Anything outdoors.
Most of the knowledge, that comes to people in the outdoor comes from family. I mean, the grandpas and dads and moms passing down their favorite recipes and their favorite lakes and ponds to fish, and then how to catch them and where they're going to be, at what time in the season. And having people that share the knowledge is such an advantage towards the whole sport. Exactly what you said. Because if we pass on, that information dies with us.
That's right.
But if you can help, what is it? You teach a man to take a man fishing, he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
good,
right.
Good Bible quote. So,
Yeah.
hey, we were out there. We were doing a lot of different shots. You put me through the paces. You even had a pretty cool little Garmin tool to actually point out my flaws. What on earth was that?
Yeah, this Garmin Zero trap shooting trainer
Yeah.
or upland trainer is a great tool that our company, local company here, Garmin, made. They actually put it through the paces and designed it here at Powder Creek.
What's funny is I saw the YouTube video on it when you mentioned we were going to be using it. I'm like, that's Powder Creek.
Yeah, so
Yeah. Who was the shooter? He was spot on.
oh, I
You
can't
know?
even remember because they had so many of them back. It's been 3 or 4 years since
Yeah.
they did that, but it's a tool that I use quite a bit when I travel and put on coaches clinics and team clinics for these high school trap teams.
Right.
It's a tool that I use monthly.
Right.
And it is very, very helpful. It does several things, but a couple of the really most important things it does for the shooter is it tells you your reaction time and how far away the target is. And obviously it'll tell you if you hit it or miss it, high, low, left or right. It'll give you all the details. It'll Bluetooth right to your cell phone. It's a great tool for a high school team to use.
How many times has that pheasant got up straight in front of you, shown his breast, paused for a second, and flown straight away, and
Yep.
you've missed it?
You
And you're
shoot.
like, that pheasant was, protected by God or something.
Yeah, and normally the shooter shoots right over the top of that bird.
Or underneath it.
Underneath or over the top every time.
And so this
you know,
Garmin device tells you
it'll
you're
help
shooting behind
you
it.
with that. It'll tell you all the secrets. It'll keep score for you. It'll keep score for your whole squad or your buddy. It's a really,
Yeah.
really neat tool for the shooting sports.
Because I was actually leading mine a little too much
Yep.
on the ones that I
Yep,
missed.
that happens a
And
lot.
Then I tightened it up. I shortened that lead, and then I was getting that smoke, that
You look-
that black smoke you like to see.
You look right down at the device and it'll tell you.
Yeah.
And I have purposely, over the years, tried to miss at certain feet in front of a target or behind a target
To see if it's on.
it's right, and it's spot on.
All right. Now listen, we're gonna have to take a break here in a little bit, but before we do, you didn't miss it all today. You didn't miss one damn shot. I don't know if you're trying to prove a point to me or not, but then after you shot 25 or 30 in a row, you go, okay, I'm going to get serious, and you started shooting from the hip. How the hell did you learn to shoot from the hip?
So shooting from the hip is something that guys back in the old days, Herb Parsons, Tom Knapp, Satterwhite, Clardy, there's several people that started these things back in the day as exhibition shooting.
Yeah.
To Annie Oakley,
Right. Oh yeah.
to perform in front of crowds, it's entertainment. And believe it or not, once you figure out how to do it and you get the feel for it,
Uh-huh.
when we shoot a shotgun, all we're doing is pointing and shooting. We're not aiming.
Right.
We're pointing and shooting. So it's no different than you and I saying point at the microphone, point at the picture.
Yeah.
And when with a clay target or a game bird, you just point at it. And if the gun's down here, you're just trusting your hand-eye coordination.
Would you say, because first off, before you, I get it. It's hand-eye coordination, but you make it look so easy. What made you decide to start doing that? Was it a bet, or was it, just something you decided to try and you started nailing them?
A long time ago, back in the late 80s, early 90s, a friend and I, we used to travel the sporting clay circuit and shoot competition all over the United States. And we made it a normal thing on Sunday afternoon. When we got done with competition, it was our time to have some fun. So we would shoot a round of 5 stand from the hip
From the hip.
to see what our scores were. And you shoot 25 targets from the hip, and Kevin was pretty solid.
Yeah.
He's 23, 24, maybe a 25, and I was always 1 or 2 targets below him.
Okay.
He's probably one of the best hip shooters I've ever seen.
Wow.
And he can even turn his gun upside down and shoot from the hip.
Oh my gosh.
So it's all hand-eye coordination and trust. A lot of trust.
God knows how many cartridges you've gone through, how many shells
Oh.
that you've gone through to master this.
I wish I kept track. Oh, and I'm not shooting as much as I used to, but it's still,
Yeah.
if I had to guess today with targets and hunting,
Uh-huh.
I'm probably 25 to 30,000 rounds a year.
Oh my gosh.
And that's not very much compared to some other people.
Oh my goodness. I can't even fathom that. All right, so listen, we're going to take a break. We'll be back after this. I want to talk about your high school teams that
Okay.
you are coaching
Okay.
and some of their success. I know some of them made it onto the national platform. And then I want to talk about preparing for dove season. We've
You
got
got
a
it.
lot of great tips, and I know that you are a very seasoned dove hunter. You've traveled all over the world. And heck, I might even try to get a dove recipe out of you. But back
Yeah, we
to
can do that.
710 with John Francis and Crappie Kirby right outdoors on 710 Talk Radio. You are right outdoors on 710 Radio with Crappie Kirby, and today in the studio, John Francis, shotgun shooter extraordinaire, instructor at the incredible Powder Creek, who was nice enough to give us their entire lobby. This place is beautiful. What an array of ducks we have here.
We got quite a taxidermy supply behind us.
We even
don't
got a lab in case we needed some retrieval going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
This is a great place. I'd like to thank Powder Creek if you've never been here, or if you've ever just wanted to see some really good shooters, male and female, youth. We've got a seniors division. Come out here, check the Powder Creek website. What is it, powdercreek.com? They have things going on nearly every weekend, do they not?
Oh, this time of year, it gets crazy.
Because everybody's getting ready. They're getting
Oh,
excited.
yeah, everybody's getting ready. Hunting season's coming up. The weather's going to start cooling off.
Uh-huh.
And here in about 2 or 3 more weeks, the parking lot's going to be filled. There's going to be corporate shoots. There's going to be charity shoots. There's going to be people getting ready for the dove season. There's people getting ready for prairie chicken season.
Prairie chicken.
There's all kind of things going to be happening.
Quail, pheasants.
Everything's going to be coming down the pipe here soon.
And it's a great place to come in here before you head off to that guy's trip or that gal's trip and just brush up on a few shots. Am I right?
That's right.
Get that
That's-
gun dialed in so that you don't miss that straightaway shot like that pheasant got me.
That's
earlier.
exactly.
But hey, you've been here for a long time. I know that we've actually had the Pheasants Forever kind of sponsors thank you night out here several nights. We've
Yep.
come out here, and I'm proud to be involved with Pheasant Forever because of you. Thank you.
You bet.
You guys help me. You guys allow me to help you guys with some sound reinforcement there. And
Oh,
you
we
do a
appreciate
great,
it.
You do a great job hosting it.
Yeah,
It's always
kind of
fun.
fun. It's kind of fun.
It's always good food.
Yeah.
There might be a cold beverage involved
Maybe
here and there.
one or two.
But boy, they raise a lot of money, don't they?
It did.
Pheasant Forever.
We set a record in March at that last banquet. I don't remember what the dollar figure was, but for first real big banquet we've had since COVID,
Yeah.
we kind of hit it out of the park.
Nice.
So
Well, because if you've been, helping me get in there, now I think the Quail Forever and Lawrence is having me host their banquet in September.
Quail Federation.
Yeah, the Quail Federation.
Now, don't get too confused now. There's
Yeah.
a guy that's heavily involved in that chapter whose name is John Francis.
Oh, really?
And it's-
Okay.
and it's not me.
Oh, it's not you?
It's not me.
Oh, my gosh. Well, how many
He
John
lives
Francis
in
is-
Lawrence.
He
He's
lives in
a
Lawrence?
good dude.
He's a good guy?
Yeah.
Well, hey, speaking of good guys, you do a lot for youth. You've talked about that. You've been involved with hunter safety courses, training high school teams out here, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. You've kind of covered the whole gamut of giving back to society in the outdoor world. Can you talk about some of these crack shots that you've had over like the last 4 years? You've had tremendous success in the high school trap shooting teams.
The high school trap shooting team and the SCTP teams that I've coached with over the years for the last 23 or 24 years now,
Yeah.
out here at Powder Creek and all over the state of Kansas. It's a phenomenal program that's growing faster than you can imagine. We have had numerous kids from our programs here at Powder Creek that ended up with scholarships to Fort Hays State, Lindenwood University, Midland University in Nebraska, a whole bunch of different places because of their academics and because of their shooting ability.
Nice.
And some of those scholarships were full ride.
Really?
So There's a couple of kids that stand out on a national level. We've had some kids that have made the Junior Olympic tryout teams, and then I have a couple of students that have hit a home run on the national level in the sporting clays world.
Wow.
So, and they're traveling every month out of state, going to big shoots everywhere.
How exciting that the collegiate program is now offering outdoor scholarships for like fishing and trap shooting and that sort of
It's
stuff.
amazing.
Isn't that great for the
I
sport?
wish I was that age again.
No,
I wish I was
I
that
would have
age
a
again.
master's degree,
Oh
wouldn't
man,
you?
I just wish that would have been awesome if that was available back then, but
Yeah.
it wasn't even a thought back then.
I know it. Like my pinnacle of shooting is when I was 13. I got to try out for the Junior Olympic trap shooting team, or I get them confused. What's the difference between trap shooting and skeet shooting? Trap shooting is just straight
Trap
away.
shooting's the targets that are going straight away from you, and skeet shooting is
High
you shoot a
control.
high house or a low house target in a combination of both with a true pair,
Yeah.
and you move around in a semicircle at 8 positions.
And that is a hard
It's
thing.
it's a lot harder.
Because I could probably get 9 out of 10 out here trap shooting. But when I did the skeet, I took that confidence that I had on the trap range to the skeet range, and boy, was I eating some humble pie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's targets are a lot faster,
Yeah.
and they're not very far away, but it takes a little while to get your eyes used to that.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So speaking of a little faster, hey man, those dove, they move quick.
Boy, they're starting to show up. I just came back 2 weeks ago from Garden City, Kansas.
Garden City, Kansas.
Six
Okay.
6 hours away to go out there and teach a clinic,
Yeah.
and driving for 2 hours across the western part of the state, and the only thing I ever saw was doves.
Oh.
And I saw a lot of doves.
Okay, before we get into the tips of dove hunting, all right, please give me a different recipe than jalapeno bacon wrapped dove. Because I almost feel guilty shooting them because I don't think they taste that good. Do you have an end-all, be-all? Or if you have an end-all, be-all recipe, give us a call right now and we'll share it with you on the radio. But what's your way of eating them?
There's the jalapeno cream cheese breasted dove with bacon is always good.
Yes.
But it's the only one anybody talks about.
Right.
Now, the one that nobody talks about, and you're not even going to hear about this in the United States, is one that I experieed when I was in Bolivian Adventures Lodge in Santa Cruz, Bolivia,
Oh, wow.
dove hunting. Dove pate served with fried plantain chips.
Ooh, so it was like a raw dove?
No, it's cooked,
Yeah.
but it's ground up with some salsa and some other things and spices and seasoning,
Yeah.
and some egg, and then you dip
You
a
dip.
chip in it, which is a fried plantain.
Oh, man.
It's spectacular.
And a plantain is a banana. Is it
Like a
not?
banana.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, man. Did you grab that recipe?
Oh, it was simple. It only had like 4 or 5 things in it.
Wow.
It was absolutely simple. So, but when we go down there on those trips, they pick up all these birds and nothing goes to waste.
Yeah.
So we eat a lot of doves and pigeons and stuff like that as appetizers, and then they take a lot of them to the villages and give them to the people that need the protein.
Yeah, that's good. That's
So-
good because there's hunger around the country.
That's right.
and around
Yeah.
the world. But
Yeah.
it's funny you say dove pate, so it was almost like a dip, like a dove dip.
It was very similar. Think about it almost like ham salad, but
Yeah.
with doves.
Okay. My buddy Kent Driscoll, he's my tournament partner. He does a smoked crappie dip with
Now-
capers and cream cheese.
That would be good.
And let me tell you, I'm gonna put the recipe up on the website so you guys can.
That
see
would
it,
be
but-
good.
Okay, so you're in Great Bend. Is that where you said you went?
I went through Great Bend. I went to Garden City.
Oh, Garden City. So Kansas, they do dove hunting right. They have over 90 different fields open to the public.
Yes, they do.
Which are all accessible at the Kansas Parks and Wildlife Department website. Go check them out, and they give you the coordinates. They even plant these fields with feed that these doves like.
They
Like,
put wheat in them and or sunflowers and maybe milo, and then maybe they burn the field off if it was a pasture, They make it very attractive to hold the doves in there.
Right.
And they have several fields that are just held back for youth,
Yeah.
for youth opportunity.
Oh, I did not even know that.
Yep.
That's probably listed on the Kansas Parks and
It
Wildlife
is.
Department as well.
It is.
September 1st through November 29th is the actual season. So as we get prepared, as we get a little bit closer, we're just a few weeks out right now. What's the first step? Is it to come out here and brush up on your shot at Powder Creek?
Well, you
Is
know,
it
the first
gun
step,
maintenance? What's the first step in preparing for dove season?
the average hunter in Kansas
Uh-huh.
probably hasn't looked at his shotgun, his or her shotgun, since December of last year.
Yeah, since duck season.
So pull it out, check it out, clean it, make sure everything's correct and ready to go. Read the rule book and the regulations. Make sure you got a plug in your gun.
Yeah.
Make sure, because we can't have a migratory bird dove hunting, you can't have a gun that'll hold more than 3 shells,
Yeah.
or you're going to be breaking the rules. And the game wardens, you know, let's play by the rules. So make sure everything's working order. Make sure you got the right. Make sure your choke tube is clean and you can remove it. You know, put in an improved cylinder choke, something that'll have a wide enough pattern at 30 yards that you're going to be successful in the field.
Okay.
That's the first thing I would do.
Improved cylinder, huh?
Improved cylinder.
Really?
Yeah.
So shoot them close.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the big thing that a lot of times in dove hunting it's can be kind of almost like a holiday in the southeast.
Yeah.
They'll close schools on September 1st.
Do they?
In the southeast, in
Wow.
Georgia.
Yeah.
So there's more shotgun shells fired on opening day of dove season than there is combined with all clay targets and all other hunting combined.
Are you kidding me? Where on earth did you get that?
The
statistic?
average-
That's amazing.
The average person will only kill 5 doves per 25 shots.
Oh man.
And
Oh,
Kansas limits 15.
Yeah.
That's 3 boxes of shells.
Oh my gosh, what a
And,
great.
and we're hurting for shotgun shells across the country right now. They can't keep up with the demand. So
Yeah.
if you can improve your shooting a little bit, everybody will have more shotgun shells
So
to
come
use.
out to Powder Creek, people.
Come out
and
to Powder
brush
Creek
up on those shots.
and practice a little
Now,
bit.
speaking of shot, what shot do you shoot? You shoot 7.5.
I shoot
8?
7.5 primarily.
7.5.
Yep.
Now, what gun do you choose for dove?
Well, you know, a lot of times I'll just use an over-under shotgun. I have a Beretta DT10 that I use quite a bit for that. When I feel like I maybe want to use a side-by-side shotgun,
Okay.
I've got a 16 gauge CZ
Yeah.
that I'll use for that. Sometimes I'll use a pump, sometimes I'll use a semi-auto.
Just
I just like to mix it up a little bit and have some fun.
whatever you're feeling.
Yeah,
12, 20 gauge, either
or maybe even a 28 gauge.
28 gauge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right.
Yep.
That's a little bit smaller than the 20 gauge, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Is that bigger than a 410?
Bigger, the next one bigger than a 410.
Okay. So that's well, you never miss. So you can probably
Oh,
shoot with
you
a
know.
22 shell if you want.
No, I don't know about
You
that.
know,
But
okay. All right. So stock up on shells. Pick the right gun. Cylinders. Improve cylinders.
improved cylinder.
Gun maintenance. Clean that gun.
Clean
before you head
it,
out.
lube it. Make sure it's in working order. A lot of people wait until the last minute.
Oh no.
They wait until the week before, and then they realize their gun, something's wrong with their gun, and then they're upset because they can't get it fixed in time to use it.
Yeah.
There's only a handful of gun repair places around, and they're all busy.
They're
There's
not
a lot
open,
of
they're
lot
not
of
open
people.
on Saturday
They're
mornings
not open
either.
on Saturday and Sundays, so check it out now. Make sure it's in working order.
Whenever I go on those big duck hunting adventures, because I've been going with some of the Duck Dynasty guys, and I don't want to, embarrass myself. So I've been bringing an extra gun. That might not even be a bad idea.
Extra gun in tournament shooting. When I travel for tournament shooting, I always bring an extra gun.
Okay.
And this year
Yeah.
was the first year in many, many years that I actually had to get to the backup gun and use it to finish an event.
Right.
Because I had a
yeah.
little problem with one of my other ones.
Yeah. Now, this is a good tip, and see if you agree with me. Opening day, you go out, boom, boom, boom. You smoke all these doves, and there's probably, 20, 30 people out there in the field shooting with you. Please be careful out there. Safety first and foremost in every occasion. Don't take any shots that are questionable. But And then the doves kind of go dead for a little while. They kind of run them out. But here's the deal. These are migratory birds. So there's more coming from Nebraska and South Dakota, correct?
Always, we get doves that'll come through Kansas, especially the western part of the state, for 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Every week we'll get a new, depending on the cold fronts, we'll get a new batch of doves. So don't give up on it after opening day, because those doves can be shot for a month or longer.
I think that, maybe hunt it a couple days, maybe give it a day or two rest and let it fill back up, because
That's right.
Just because you've hunted someplace pretty hard doesn't mean that it's not going to refill with
That's
dove.
right. That's right.
As the cold weather pushes them south, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in Kansas now we have another kind of dove. It's called a Eurasian collared dove.
Now,
it's an invasive species.
So there's no limit.
There's no limit, no season. You could hunt them, go hunting tomorrow with them.
Yeah, but how do you
They're bigger.
differentiate them?
Well, that's where experience comes into play. They have a ring around their neck. They're a little bit bigger. They're a little bit different color, lighter colored, and you got to kind of know what you're doing, because you don't want to shoot a regular mourning dove out of season, because you're going to be in trouble.
Oh yeah, that's federal.
So
offense.
yeah, but we do have an opportunity for those Eurasian collared doves. Since they're an invasive species, we don't really want them here because they run out the other doves.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
No, they don't. So another good tip, I had somebody when I was younger saying, don't take a shot on a dove unless you can see its beak and its eyes.
Yeah, that's probably a good tip.
Yeah.
That's going to mean if you got pretty good eyesight,
Yeah.
that bird's going to be probably inside of 25 yards away.
25, 30 yards?
Yeah, and then 25 or 30 yards is a very manageable range for most people to shoot targets at and game birds.
Right.
You're going to harvest them cleanly, and your success rate's going to go high.
Yeah. And you're not going to waste as many shells.
Exactly.
I also had another guy tell me that, you don't need an automatic gun. Just shoot with a over and under, like you were talking
That's
about.
right.
Because that third shot,
Two shots is all you need.
that third shot, that bird's too far gone.
Yeah.
You
Know your ranges, know your yardages.
Yeah.
And again, being safe, because there's probably going to be more people in the field.
Yep.
Wear your eye and ear protection. We don't have need for any accidents out in the field with pellets hitting somebody in the eye. Wear glasses. Sunglasses will work.
Yeah.
But wear glasses.
Wear glasses. That's a good tip. And the other thing is, getting back to the whole over and under or double barrel, I also had a guy said, shoot it, kill it, get it. So basically, don't shoot doubles, because chances are you'll lose one of them in the field. Is that a good statement?
It depends on what kind of cover you're hunting.
And if you have a dog.
If you have a dog, and it's hard on dogs. That time of year, it's hot.
Yeah.
But if you're hunting a wheat stubble field that's only 6 inches tall,
Yeah.
you're liable to find every bird you shoot. But if you're dropping birds into 3 or 4 foot of cover,
Yeah.
shooting 2 of them and then trying to remember where they fell, it's going to be very difficult. So you're better off just shooting one, marking it, go right to it, pick it up, and then go back and start hunting again.
Right. And then these birds are, they're pretty sharp. So you also have to make certain that you have some camo on, correct?
Yeah. Camo is going to be a big role. Stay in the shade. That's going to be a good thing too, because again, it's going to be hot. But they're not going to see you in the shade if you're wearing camo.
Right.
And make yourself a little blind and bring yourself a bucket or a little chair
And hold still.
and hold still. And don't get all jumpy until you time to stand up and take the shot.
Right, right. You got time for a funny story?
Sure.
So I was dove hunting. I've got my German short-haired Deej.
Uh-huh.
He's famous with my Crappie Kirby guide service.
Right.
And the YouTube, people like to see him on the YouTube. I think he's more popular than I am. But anyway, I've taken him dove hunting several times, and for whatever reason, probably bad training on my part, he does not like to retrieve the doves. He will go over and point right where it's at, but he does not like the downy feathers in a dove. Is that a thing?
Feathers are very small. They come off the bird very easily inside the dog's mouth, and the dog does not like that.
Yeah. So my dog doesn't. Some dogs do.
Yeah, some of
I know
them
there's
do.
people screaming in, but anyway, here's my story. So I take Deej with me, and we're hunting. We're hunting some farmer in southeast Kansas, around north of the Fort Scott area, south of Prescott, and it's a buddy of my dad's that had some Milo out. And we're hunting, and Deej is pointing these birds to me, right? Well, all of a sudden, this beautiful black young Labrador comes trotting into the field. And so I call it over, and Deej likes her, obviously, so he's not, giving any grief to her. And so we start shooting these doves, and Deej and her will run over, but he'll stop immediately and point, and she would pick up the dove. And I'd call her, and I'd be like, come here, girl, come here. And that dog so proudly would just take that dove and just disappear for like 25 minutes.
Wow.
And so then here she'd come back, right? And so this went on for, from like, 2 p.m. till about 7. And so anyway, we go back to thank the farmer, Butch Hutchison was his name, for letting us hunt on his land. And as we get there, I notice he's got a stack of about 9 doves on his front porch. And so I told Butch Hutchison, I said, hey, I'll give you $500 for any of the litter mates of that dog. And he goes, oh, you will? And I said, yeah. And he goes, will you shake on it? And I said, well, I'm a man of my word. There must be some conditions if you're asking me to shake on it. And he goes, well, come on, I'll get you a litter mate of hers. And so we walk into the back of his garage, and in the back of his garage, there's one female cat and about 9 little kittens that, were fully grown. I'm like, what are you trying to pull on me, Butch Hutchison? And he goes, well, that dog just showed up as a puppy. Somebody abandoned it, and that cat nursed that puppy.
I'll be darned.
Along with those kittens. And I'm like, no way. I'm like, did you film it? He's like, nope, but that dog was raised by that cat, and there's her litter mates. Where's my $500? Obviously, I didn't take a cat home for $500. But man, you can have a lot of fun dove hunting. Can't you?
Yeah. It's like I said, in the southeast and in Texas, it's a tradition.
Yeah.
It's really a big deal. Family, they close schools. Families get together. It's a tradition that's been going on forever.
Right. And don't get me wrong. You know I'm a bit of a snob with what I eat. You know that I don't eat anything but crappie and walleye. I don't mess around with, anything. I don't, catfish. I know that they're delicious, but, there's something about that clean taste.
Crappie and walleye,
Yeah.
especially when the water's cold.
Yes, yeah, those winter crappie. Boy, we've hammered them, haven't we?
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing better, and there's nothing better than quail. A quail compared to a dove is night and day. Am I right?
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah?
I think I like them both, but the pheasants and quail would be probably a little higher than on the list for me.
For dove. And don't get me wrong, bacon wrapped jalapeno with cream cheese, it's delicious, but
it's not really a full meal. It's not the main course.
yeah.
It's an appetizer.
An appetizer, yeah.
It's an
yeah,
appetizer.
Yeah, okay, so I don't feel so guilty having a little appetizer
Yeah.
on that. But what's your best pheasant recipe?
Oh my! I've done everything with them. Fajitas are really good.
Pheasant fajitas.
Yeah, they're really, and it's really easy.
Yeah.
That's a good way to get rid of a lot of birds. Years ago, we put on a European-driven pheasant hunt.
Ooh.
Where they release birds, they fly over you, you
Yeah.
shoot.
Usually from a cylinder. Or
And we had about 35 people, and they released 750 pheasants.
Oh my gosh!
Well, we killed about 500 of them.
Wow.
And when we got ready to leave,
uh-huh.
not everybody took home their birds.
So
The last 3 or 4 of us that to leave, the guy's like, hey, you got to get these out of here.
Yeah, yeah.
We took home like 120 pheasants each.
Oh my gosh.
So cleaned them all up real nice and neat the next day. And then back then I was working at the fire department in Overland Park.
Yeah.
So they didn't go to waste. But pheasant fajitas were a big hit at the
Okay.
fire station for several nights.
Very cool. Very cool. I had a pretty unique recipe. I took a bunch of crappie up to South Dakota. We went to just west of Mitchell, and of course all the crappie runs out. And I've been frying, and people were still hungry, and I hadn't eaten yet. So I'm like, hey, give me some of those pheasant breasts. So I took some of the pheasant breasts, and you know what I doused them in? I doused them in Bailey's. I let them soak in Bailey's cream liqueur. Irish cream. I let them sit in that for about an hour and a half, and then I breaded them in pancake batter and fried them in pancake batter soaked in Bailey's, and it was like pheasant candy.
I'm gonna have to remember that.
Yeah, I mean, I shocked myself. It was just kind of an impromptu thing I threw together. But
Wow.
yeah, so all right. So any other tips that you can think of?
Well, when you're out there in the field, be picky on your shots. You don't
And be safe.
be safe. If you're shooting up in the sky, you're not going to hit somebody on the other side of the field.
Right.
Keep the bird up in the blue sky, and everybody's going to be happy. Make sure you know your yardages. Now, when that dove is flying across in front of you, you got to shoot in front of it to hit it, don't you?
Yeah.
That's the hardest part for most everybody to do that. They want to shoot at the bird.
Right.
Well, you got to think about it like if you're our world famous quarterback here in Kansas City,
Mahomes.
and he's going to throw a football
Yeah.
to his wide receiver that's running a crossing route, he's going to throw that ball in front of him so he can catch it.
Right.
That's the same thing you got to do with that gun is you got to shoot that gun
Yeah.
in front of that dove to be able to kill it.
And don't you have to take into consideration that the further the shot, the longer the lead area?
Speed,
Is that
that
correct?
is correct. The speed and the distance of the target are what's going to determine how much lead you're going to need.
Right.
And then there's 3 or 4 different methods to do that. Swing through, pull away, sustain lead, collapse lead, intercept. There's all kinds of different methods.
Dude, you're such a good
To-
shot.
to
Listen
do
to all
that.
those terms I've never
All
even heard
these
of.
different methods on how to obtain that lead to make that shot. And that's probably the hardest thing to do in the field. You have to be able to identify that your target is on a crossing pattern, and then you have to determine in a split second how much lead that's going to take.
Right.
And it gets better with experience.
And I heard one time that one of the most important thing is the follow through. Don't just lead it, stop and shoot, but lead it continually and pull the trigger and follow through. Is that correct?
Kirby, anytime you shoot a shotgun at a moving target, the ideal setup is the gun has to go the same speed the target's going.
Okay.
If the target takes lead, you build in the lead, but the gun is matched to the same speed the target is. You pull the trigger as the gun is in motion. If you slow down or look at the gun barrel, the gun's going to slow down or stop, and when you look at it, you're going to shoot behind the bird.
Okay.
You got to keep your eyes on the target.
And there's we can talk about it all day long, but until you actually do it, you're not going to learn it. Is that correct? Is that a fair
true.
statement?
Yep.
Yeah.
It comes with experience, and you got to practice it. I see 10 or 15 people a week, and notoriously the hardest shot on the property is a crossing shot.
Really.
That's the one we spend the most time on.
Yeah. So as we get prepared, I think we've given you, I don't know, I didn't write them down, but we've given a lot of good tips in the preparation. We want everybody to go to their local wildlife department. I know this show has the potential of going all over the nation, but every state has some type of area reserved for the dove hunter because it
Yeah.
is a migratory bird.
A lot of them do.
And they are delicious. Did I say that? I think I said it. But
You did.
I did. Yeah, I'll eat them. But find out where you can go. Find out some public hunting, or look for the right habitat. And the right habitat consists of food plots,
Yeah, we need-
habitat
you
for
get-
nesting,
Yep.
and water. Water's very important.
Water, as you know, in this state, water is very important, and we've been lacking water for a few years, especially in the western half.
Yeah.
Scouting, scout is the number one thing to do to have a successful hunt. You've got to put in the time. You've got to be out there looking, driving the roads, finding the fields, finding the flight patterns, finding the food source, finding the water, gathering permission, and then you're on your way to having a successful trip.
Yeah, create some memories outdoors.
You
Get
gotta
right
believe it.
outdoors, make some memories, have some fun, and we appreciate you guys listening. John Francis, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Kirby. Appreciate it.
Powder Creek, thank you, Powder Creek. Get out here, brush up on your shot. Maybe take a lesson from John Francis. Get an autograph, have some fun. There's no better shot in the Midwest to learn from than you, my friend.
I
And
appreciate it.
Maybe so I can win a couple beers. Could you teach me to shoot
I'll
from the
teach you.
hip?
I'll teach you how to do that. We'll teach you how to do that.
I think I'd go broke with shot shells, learning to shoot from the hip, but boy, you make it look easy. Thank you, John Francis.
You bet. Thank you, Kirby.
Thank you guys for listening. 710 Talk Radio. Get yourself right outdoors and make some memories.
That was
That was fun.
fun.
All right, you got time for one more crazy story?
Sure.
All right, so crappie fishing, Melbourne, about 7 years ago, and here comes game board, right? Coming dead. And I'm like, gosh darn it, we finally get on. This guy's going to take up 30 minutes of my time checking all my stuff. I'm up to par. So he gets within, shouting range. He goes, "How you guys doing?" I said, "Oh, we're doing pretty good." And he goes, "You're crappie fishing, right?" And I said, "No, we're dove hunting." And he goes, "Oh, okay, well, I'm going to need to see your guns then. Can you please put them in the air?" And I'm like, "Dude, I was joking. I don't have
He didn't know-
any
he
guns."
didn't know you were
He
joking.
didn't know I was joking. So he comes up and he goes, "Well, dove hunting is legal on Kansas reservoirs if you're anchored up." And I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yes, you can
Yeah,
dove hunt
you
on
can-
the lake."
You can hunting from a boat is mainly waterfowl.
Yeah.
The boat cannot be in motion.
It has to be anchored. Yeah, but you can shoot dove from the lake legally. Did you know that? Am I off here? Am I wrong?
No, I don't know. You'd be the only person that ever did it if you did it.
Well, anyway, like a month and a half later, we went and did it.
Well, I could see there's some places that you could do that.
We caught
Well,
more crappie than we shot dove, and it was very awkward because we were continually fishing, and we'd see a dove coming this way, and then you got to scramble on the boat to get a gun.
get a gun.
Highly dangerous. I
Yeah.
probably shouldn't be recording this.
Yeah, that would be.
That was our
no,
outro.
that would be. That would be